Meet Liz. Liz is the event planner for CRISTA International. She feels sick today, but came to work anyway. Liz knows her medicine might make her groggy, but she would take anything to get rid of her pounding headache. And thank goodness she did. The annual donor lunch is today, and she must buy food to make sure it goes smoothly. Liz grabs John from the CRISTA Communications Department, borrows a CRISTA van, and heads to Ted Myers. Oops! Liz left her purse in the office, so John pays for everything with his CRISTA credit card. He will assign the charges to Liz's budget. Noon comes and goes, but no one shows up for the lunch. Liz realizes that she read her calendar wrong. Weeks later, when John's busy supervisor reviews his credit card statement, he questions John's $372 Ted Myers purchase. The supervisor is happy to learn it was for CRISTA International's donor lunch and charged to Liz's budget, not his. Later at lunch, John jokes with his co-workers about charging expenses to other ministries. He should do it more often to get his boss to smile. Now, meet Susan. Susan is the office manager of CRISTA Elders. Additionally, Susan's husband recently started a new business. Unfortunately, business has been very slow. To save costs, Susan occasionally helps her husband by bringing home CRISTA office supplies. Her supervisor notices but decides not to make a thing of it. Later, when Susan buys the department a scanner, she wishes her husband could afford one. It would really help his business grow. She gets an idea. She remembers John joking about charging expenses to other ministries. She can buy her husband a scanner and charge it to another ministry and pay it back when business picks up. But which ministry should she temporarily charge it to so no one will notice? Aha! The technology department. Susan's longtime best friend is the new technology director, Nancy. Susan buys her husband the scanner and also gives him CRISTA's customer list. Business begins to pick up. Later, when Susan's busy supervisor reviews her credit card statement, she questions the second scanner purchase. The supervisor is happy to learn it was for the technology department and charged to Nancy's budget, not hers. Weeks later, Susan catches Nancy on her way to CRISTA's quarterly devotion and tells her she needs to talk. Susan, suddenly feeling nervous and guilty, hands Nancy a check and tells her about the scanner. Nancy's very understanding. If she had not told her, she would have never noticed. She reassures Susan that it's okay. Nancy never made it to CRISTA devotions that day. After her meeting with Susan, she takes her car to a mechanic because it's leaking fluid. Turns out she needs a new transmission that she can't afford because she just started her new job at CRISTA. She remembers the discussion with Susan and realizes she can use her CRISTA credit card to cover the emergency. She will charge it to CRISTA's transportation department's budget until she can pay it back. When she submits her credit card statement for approval, her extremely busy supervisor signs off without reviewing the statement. After getting away with it once, a surprised Nancy begins using her CRISTA credit card for other personal purchases. Over the course of 4 months, she buys cowboy boots and charges them to CRISTA Western Camp. She buys a lawnmower and charges it to CRISTA Landscaping. She buys furniture and charges it to CRISTA Daycare, and buys a laptop and charges it to Suburban Academy. No one seems to be the wiser. Months later, with no fear of being caught, Nancy buys a Rottweiler and charges it to CRISTA Veterinarians. She sells it on Greg's List for a profit. 1 week later, Nancy's extremely busy boss takes a leave of absence due to fatigue. Nancy is assigned to a temporary supervisor. She confronts Nancy about the puppy purchase. Nancy explains that it was for CRISTA Veterinarians. To be sure, the temporary supervisor checks with CRISTA Veterinarians. She then researches Nancy's prior purchases and runs the evidence to the legal department. If only someone had fixed the carpet. Nancy is fired. She is scared but relieved to put an end to her guilt. Nancy's extremely busy supervisor returns from leave early to explain herself to the board. Nancy is arrested for theft, and the story is leaked to the local news. Someone gets Wesley, and there's a misleading Wesley Jones news story suggesting that money raised for sheep was actually used to buy Rottweilers. CRISTA's reputation is tarnished. Weeks later, when John's busy supervisor reviews his credit card statement, he questions the $372 Ted Myers purchase. The supervisor is happy to learn it was for CRISTA International's donor lunch and charged to Liz's budget, not John's. John considers this later and thinks, someone could take advantage of this. John reports his concern through CRISTA's M68 stewardship program, and CRISTA takes action to eliminate the risk. CRISTA managers receive a memo reminding them to protect CRISTA resources and closely review employee purchases. CRISTA has a wonderful devotion service on Micah 6:8, and God's requirement that we act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with God. The new technology director has a transformational experience and feels as though the speaker is talking directly to her. When she later learns her car needs a new transmission, she is sad, but knows that God can take care of it. She joins a CRISTA carpool until she can afford to fix her car and gain new friends in the process. And they all lived ethically ever after. Wesley Jones.